Taylor Swift didn't just become a billionaire. She rewrote the rules of the music industry, set a new standard for artists' rights, and turned her biggest career disaster into a masterclass in business strategy. In late 2023, Forbes reported Taylor Swift's net worth had surpassed $1.1 billion, making her one of the few musicians to achieve billionaire status. But here's what separates her from almost every other wealthy artist. She built this fortune primarily through her music and tours. No makeup lines, no fashion brands, no liquor companies, just strategic business decisions and entrepreneurial thinking. Today, I'm breaking down the financial moves and business strategies that turned Taylor Swift into a billion-dollar empire. Whether you're building a startup, freelancing, or running any kind of business, these lessons apply directly to you. Let's dive in. Taylor's entrepreneurial mindset started early, and her first major business decision happened when she was just 14 years old. She convinced her family to move to Nashville, the heart of country music, to pursue her career. At 15, she became the youngest artist ever signed by Big Machine Records. But here's the key. Even at that young age, she made one non-negotiable demand in her contract. She insisted on writing or co-writing every single song she recorded. Most young artists just want to get signed and start performing. Taylor was already thinking about long-term revenue streams. Here's why this matters financially. When you write a song, you own the publishing rights to that composition. Every time that song is streamed, played on radio, performed live, used in a commercial, or covered by another artist, you earn money from both publishing and mechanical royalties. This is passive income that continues generating revenue for decades. While other artists were just performing, Taylor was building intellectual property assets that would pay her repeatedly without additional work. This is entrepreneurial lesson number 1. Don't just trade time for money. Create assets that generate recurring revenue. Her second strategic move came in 2014 with her album 1989, when she made a complete transition from country to pop music. This wasn't just an artistic evolution, it was a calculated market expansion strategy. Country music has a loyal fan base of millions. Pop music has a global audience of hundreds of millions. By successfully crossing over, Taylor expanded her total addressable market significantly. More potential customers means more revenue opportunities across every channel: album sales, streaming, touring, and merchandise. Now here's Taylor's most valuable business asset. And it's not her voice, her songwriting, or even her catalog. It's her customer relationship strategy and how she built unprecedented fan loyalty. From the beginning of her career, Taylor has personally engaged with fans in ways that create genuine emotional connections. She's held secret listening sessions at her homes, invited fans to meet her, left personal comments on their social media posts, sent them surprise gifts, and remembered details about their lives. This might sound like just being nice, but let's analyze the business impact. When you build authentic relationships with customers, you create loyalty that competitors cannot steal with better pricing or flashier marketing. Taylor's fans don't just consume her content, they become active participants in her success. They buy multiple physical versions of the same album. They spend hours analyzing her lyrics and social media for hidden clues. They drive up streaming numbers deliberately and defend her brand online without being paid. In business terms, this is customer lifetime value maximization. One deeply loyal customer who makes repeated purchases over years is exponentially more valuable than 10 one-time buyers. Taylor also created a unique engagement system through Easter eggs, hidden messages, and cryptic clues embedded in her music videos, album artwork, and social media. Each album release becomes an interactive treasure hunt where fans decode hints and build theories. This strategy generates massive free marketing, maintains engagement between album cycles, and builds anticipation without spending money on traditional advertising. The fans do the marketing work themselves because they're emotionally invested. The result is predictable, recurring revenue. When Taylor announces a new album or tour, she can accurately forecast revenue because her fan base is that loyal and that engaged. For any business, predictable revenue is the foundation of sustainable growth and scaling. In June 2019, Taylor faced what looked like a devastating business failure. Her former record label, Big Machine Records, was sold to music manager Scooter Braun's Ithaca Holdings for approximately $300 million. Included in that sale were the master recordings of Taylor's first 6 albums, her self-titled debut, Fearless, Speak Now, Red, 1989, and Reputation. In the music industry, master recordings are the original recorded versions of songs, and whoever owns the masters controls how the music is used and collects the majority of revenue from streaming, sales, and licensing. Taylor publicly stated that she had wanted to purchase her masters, but was never given that opportunity. She learned about the sale when it was announced to the public. Under her original contract, she had no legal recourse. The deal was done, and she had lost ownership of her life's work up to that point. Most entrepreneurs in this situation would accept the loss, feel defeated, and move forward with new projects. But Taylor saw an opportunity that nobody else in the industry had seriously considered. She announced she would re-record all 6 albums and release them as Taylor's version. Here's the financial genius of this strategy. Under US copyright law, when an artist re-records their own song, they own the new master recording completely. Taylor couldn't buy back her original masters, so she decided to create competing versions that she would own 100%. But she didn't just copy the original recordings, she made strategic enhancements. Each re-recorded album includes previously unreleased songs from the vault, giving fans exclusive content and a compelling reason to choose her new versions over the originals. She also ensured the production quality matched or exceeded the originals, sometimes improving on them with better technology and her matured vocals. The financial impact was immediate and dramatic. When Fearless released in April 2021, it debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200. More importantly, streaming numbers for the original Fearless dropped significantly as fans deliberately switched to streaming Taylor's version instead. The same pattern repeated with Red in November 2021, Speak Now in July 2023, and 1989 in October 2023. Think about the business implications. Scooter Braun's company invested $300 million in assets that Taylor systematically devalued, while simultaneously creating competing assets she owns entirely. She transformed a complete loss of control into 100% ownership and increased her revenue per stream because she keeps a much larger percentage. This is entrepreneurial thinking at its finest. When you can't acquire the asset you want, build a superior competing asset. When someone else controls your distribution channel, create your own. Taylor didn't waste energy fighting the sale in court. She made it financially irrelevant through execution. The Eras Tour became the highest-grossing concert tour in history, generating over $2 billion in total revenue across tickets, merchandise, and the concert film, with ticket sales alone reaching approximately $1.4 billion. Here's what made it a business masterclass. Taylor created a 3-hour-plus show covering her entire career, justifying premium pricing from $49 to over $400 while delivering massive value. She brought merchandise operations in-house instead of outsourcing, keeping the majority of revenue as fans spent $200 to $500 each on merchandise. For the concert film, instead of partnering with Netflix or a traditional studio that would give her 20 to 30% of revenue, Taylor negotiated directly with AMC theaters for approximately 50% or more. The film grossed over $261 million worldwide, earning her an estimated $150 million instead of $50 to $75 million through traditional deals. This is vertical integration. Control more of the value chain, capture more profit. Taylor owned the entire customer experience, from tickets to merchandise to film distribution. After losing her masters, Taylor's next deal showed her evolved philosophy. In 2018, she signed with Republic Records and negotiated ownership of all future master recordings. Every album from Lover onward belongs to her completely. She also secured a clause ensuring that if Universal sold its Spotify shares, proceeds would go to all artists, not just executives. This set industry precedents beyond just her benefit. The principle is simple. Ownership equals control. Control equals leverage. Leverage equals options. When you own your assets, you decide their use and capture their long-term value. Taylor applies this to brand partnerships too. She's worked with Capital One and AT&T, but only with creative control and strategic alignment. She protects her brand's long-term value over short-term cash. Beyond touring and albums, Taylor has diversified her income streams for financial stability. She earns from songwriting and publishing royalties on her own songs and covers by other artists. Now that she owns both publishing and masters for recent work, she captures both sides of every licensing deal. She's invested strategically in real estate across Nashville, Rhode Island, Beverly Hills, and New York City. Properties worth tens of millions that continue appreciating. She earns from synchronization licensing when her music appears in films, TV shows, and commercials. This diversification means her wealth doesn't depend on any single source. Multiple revenue streams create resilience. So, what can we learn from Taylor's billion-dollar strategy? Create assets that generate recurring revenue. Build deep customer loyalty, not just volume. Turn obstacles into opportunities. Control more of your value chain. And never compromise on ownership. Taylor Swift proved that ownership and smart strategy can be just as important as talent. These principles work whether you're building a startup, a creative career, or any venture. What's your biggest takeaway? Drop it in the comments. If this was valuable, subscribe for more entrepreneur breakdowns. Thanks for watching.